Hey guys, just a quick note before we begin that the show may contain spoilers and adult language, but that's just because we know how to have a good time. Stick around, you'll be glad you did.
You are here for me to enlighten you.
You ever act like this again, you're barred for life.
It's just vile and base.
It's kind of embarrassing.
If you know your lines, then you can forget them.
Oh, I get it. It's very clever.
Hello, peoples, and welcome to Esoterica Cinema, the podcast where we typically take films from the cinematic multiverse and discuss the hell out of them, but not today, because today we are doing bonus episode number 3. That's right. Hopefully you've been listening along to our new bonus episodes. I think we're calling them Viva Variety or Viva Esoterica Variety Power Hour, some shit like that. I don't know. Either way, hopefully you're having a good time with these once a monthers. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it. As always, we are here with my dear co-host and the man who was once elected mayor of Key West, Florida, Mr. Ryan Siebold.
What's up, bro? Jason! I was, what's up myself? I was all confused. Too much time in Key West, dude. Have you been down there? It's crazy.
I have not, dude, and I need to hear a little bit more about this because I understand that it was a little bit controversial how you were elected. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about that story.
Wet t-shirt contest. It just
which only, and by the way, now that he said it, it's only controversial outside of Florida.
Right.
Okay? Because over there, it makes perfect sense.
Well, that's how they do all their elections by wet t-shirt contest down there. Got really weird during the last presidential race. Joe Biden in a wet t-shirt did not sell well, but
I was gonna say that with the male figures, do they participate as well, or they're just judges? Or
I was there in full regalia, wet as fuck,
okay.
and I won, Jason.
I was gonna say because what exactly, like, what was did you go with a particular top? Like, do you just have some natural double D's that
Jason,
got since
I'm here
seen
to tell
you last? Like,
cinematic confession. I've got the best nips in the biz, my friend. No one's.
Hey.
Jesus Christ. I got. Oh man, yeah. I got the best nips in the podcast biz apparently, and I got elected mayor of Key West. Did a pretty good job.
So that's how Florida determined. So you guys all collectively, however many million of you, looked at Joe Biden's nips. After which point, soaked it in, then turned to Donald Trump's nips. Soaked that in and then made a decision.
We made a decision.
That does not sound like the most pleasant way to choose a leader.
Better than dangling Chads.
Also, a lot of people don't realize that it actually goes back to the very first election, right? Back in 1987 or whenever it was.
That's the exact year it was. Yeah, you're great at history, Jason. You're great at history. Yeah, I
believe it was Mrs. Hatfield and Mrs. McCoy, and at the end of the day, they had to settle it by way of an old-fashioned wet T-shirt contest.
That's how.
And this would go on to inform future elections.
Right. Yeah, we're a mostly peaceful state, even though we are kind of an open carry, defend yourself, carry your gun kind of place.
Stand your ground.
We also like to settle things peacefully with a good old-fashioned wet t-shirt contest. We do our elections that way. We really rely on just about everything. I mean, even when you're in line to get an Xbox from Walmart on Black Friday, wet t-shirt contest. We just double it down. Dude. It's pretty common here. Pretty common.
Probably gives a whole new meaning to the term flash sale out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's all just... Just show us.
Ryan always gets 50% off because for the same reason he was elected mayor.
Our whole state's
nips, bro.
Shaped like a dong, Jason. I don't know what you want from me.
You are America's Wang. That's how we refer to you.
Exactly. What else would you expect from such a place as this? But I did a pretty good job of running things down there, and I'm going to go ahead and take over and run things here for a minute because there's something I want to talk to you about, Jason.
Okay, let's hear it, man. What you got?
Well, you and I have been kind of going back and forth on a few episodes and a lot of discussion in private on our phone calls and whatnot about the future of cinema. And, you know, it's been a rough year with COVID and you know, theaters opening and closing, movies being postponed and shifted to streaming. And I kind of wanted to start a bit of a dialogue in a formal atmosphere such as this. I mean, not quite as formal as the wet T-shirt contest, but, you know, as formal as you and I are going to get across the country from each other.
I am wearing a tuxedo, listeners, so I am as formal as it gets
but
right
no
now.
Pants. Just the bow tie.
Well, no, I just needed the Zoom call, you know. I never need pants for a Zoom call.
Yeah, I mean, you could always go work for CNN. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot of moving parts that are going on right now, and it just got me wondering, like, you know, you go down the list, and the consumer shift to streaming services, even just in the last year. You know, obviously COVID has had an impact on that, but Disney Plus ended 2020 with 90 million subscribers. They're up 30 million this year so far. And they picked up 12.4 million of those in the second quarter with shows like Loki and Luca, the Pixar film that they're releasing there. You know, Black Widow. Well,
they had some huge also hits with like Mortal Kombat as well. I think Mortal Kombat was like the biggest one that they had, and Godzilla
it did great
and all that.
Right. And we're, you know, truth be told, we've I think come clean with the listeners. Truth be told, we do record these episodes a little bit in advance, and so as we're recording this, we are at the doorstep of some big releases. Shang-Chi has already come out, but Dune is right on the horizon. We've also got. Was it No Time to Die, the new James Bond film? But then you still got studios pushing films like Top Gun Maverick and the new Mission Impossible and so forth. So just a lot of confusion right now. Now, I know Warner Brothers, their deal to release films on HBO Max simultaneously ends in 2021 at the end of the year here, as this
which
bonus
also
episode
lost
is
them Chris Nolan, by the way, if
out.
anybody listening hasn't heard that yet. But yeah, he's I think he's done every single one of his films with Warner Brothers, Chris Nolan, and he's ditched it for Universal.
Right? I believe it's an Oppenheimer film he's doing.
And he had like a serious like ask list in terms of his demands. Like, it was nuts, dude. Like 100 mil on marketing at least. No other releases 3 weeks before or after. Like, it was crazy. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the whole, you know, HBO Max day one release, it had an impact to be certain.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix is coming to 209 million subscribers worldwide. Their stocks have gone up 24% over the past year. So
crazy.
It's just the movie industry lost a reported $5 billion in 2020.
Wow.
So all this said, you know, you throw all this out there and it's like, what does that mean both for the future of movie theaters as a whole and where we're at with that, where we think we're going, but also the movies that you and I watch for this podcast, like, you know, your A24 releases and Focus Films, is things like that, like the smaller pictures.
Yeah.
You know, are so, you know, kind of my takeaway of like how to look at this is how much longer are studios going to make the big gamble on the blockbuster? Because it's obviously bigger reward.
Sure.
But they're also taking a huge risk. So when you have movies like Shang-Chi celebrated for, you know, bringing in 250 million worldwide or, you know, just shy of 300 by the time it's, you know, made its run. You know, just a couple of years ago, a movie like that, like, you know, cut to Black Panther, that was, you know, up around or over $1 billion worldwide. That is a big swing. And so how much longer is Disney going to see a future in funding films like that? Does that make sense? Like, where does but then on the flip side to that, and then I'll toss to you, you know, do you see there to be a benefit in the smaller pictures that might cost 40 million or 20 million that are lower risk? And granted, you're not going to get a higher reward, but you also can't fall on your ass as much either. And if a $20 million picture, you know, makes $40 million and you've doubled your money, is that better to investors? You know, and then parlay or pair that with, you know, the subscription service model. You know, does everything just shift towards pleasing stockholders and then you get and passive income? I mean, you take 200.
Well, I mean, I hate to tell you that, dude. Like, I think that filmmaking shifted to pleasing shareholders like 10 years ago, dude. That's one of the reasons that I'm so against like the whole like Marvel movement. It's not that, again, they're fine, and my feelings on those films are well documented at this point. And that's part of it too, though, because it's not even necessarily about the film. Look, this happens all the time, right? Like, we get upset at a certain group because not necessarily something they did, but it's like their existence means that something has changed, or I do have this thing that I didn't want, or I don't have this thing that I did want. And that's where all of this stems from, right? So I think that the benefit that we've seen is that we do have now, you know, it's not unheard of to have a $250-300 million movie. Dude, do you know that the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock cost the same as fucking Titanic? Did you know that?
Jesus, no, I didn't.
Yeah. And that's the Jungle Cruise, dude. You know, I think Tenet was 200 to 250, maybe 185. Dune 225 to 250. So as the returns got larger, the budgets got larger. But again, if I'm doing one $250 million movie a year, first of all, you know, it kind of ties up my cash, right? First and foremost. So there's not a lot left for other projects unless you do get that giant return, right? But then here's the thing is, once you make $500 million on a movie, what the hell do you care about making 10, 15, 20? And that's really what it does. It's that it continues to reset the bar. And so now, again, Disney is not going to finance a film if it makes $2 million or $5 million or $10 million or $20 million. They're only interested in making hundreds of millions of dollars. And guess what? They found a formula where they can consistently do that.
But that's my whole point, Jason, is that bar is now reduced because, you know, a movie like Shang-Chi that would have made $1 billion and been a safe bet, like, yeah, we'll dump 300 mil or 200 mil into that and make CGI dragons and all this nonsense. And then, you know, we'll do all the print and advertising for that, which, you know, easily adds, you know, another 10, 15% onto a budget on top of that, depending on the size of the film. You know, how many $250 million returns are they going to get before they start pulling the plug on this shit and just going all and scaling back? And so I see,
and I think that they will.
Yeah, I see kind of a decline or a backing away of that, especially when you have their Disney Plus shows so highly regarded. You know, we may see a total, you know, title change or tide shift, you know, into more episodic television, where, you know, they can just get the passive income, $10 to $20 a month, times 209 million subscribers and growing. That's pretty bananas, versus throwing 200 million against the wall and hoping that it makes 300 million or 400 million or whatever. Now, you know, if those profits come back and people, you know, go back into the theater and we continue to see an upward trend with films like Dune and No Time to Die, but I think we're on the hinge of, like, really, it's this next year that's going to tell us where we end up in this industry. And this all seems really reminiscent to me about discussions that were flying around. I'm old enough, and you are as well, to remember the Napster movement and where that was going to leave the music industry and how do we rebound from that. People aren't going to buy CDs. This is bonkers. How are musicians going to keep their jets, you know? And that was the whole joke, was like Metallica and Britney
Spears.
Spears.
Let's hope it's different, dude, because that ended up killing the music industry. I mean, once there was no more money to be made, everyone was like, well, what the fuck am I doing here? Peace out, you know? You have a couple artists that are going to do their shit and they're going to self-publish it, but, you know, you don't get mega tours anymore. You know, you don't get these giant corporate backings. Like, you know, I mean, talk about it all you want, dude. The more money that there is, the only reason we have these arena tours with the Stones and, you know, even like, you know, during the 90s or 2000s with like a Whitney Houston or someone like that, right? Like, is because a bunch of people were making a bunch of money off of her. And so they were willing to, you know, reinvest and trot them out there and have these giant stadium tours. And, you know, we can talk about the albums and the art and the entertainment all we want, but like all of this stuff very cynically comes back to the fact that like it made people a fuck ton of money, right?
Right.
The studios didn't put up with, or the labels didn't put up with Led Zeppelin's shit because they liked them as guys, right?
Right.
So, so if the money dries up, then a lot of these giant productions are going to dry up. Now, here's the cool thing that could potentially benefit from that is that maybe it does usher in the return of the mid-range film, right? Because Disney, again, is no longer interested in making $5 million, so they're going to go get involved in something else. Some tech, more theme parks, technology that hasn't even been invented yet that they have working on in R&D, right? That we don't even know about. That's they're gonna find that because those are the returns that they need to make, to your point, for their company's bottom line and for their shareholders. They made a decision that that's the type of company that they were going to be, and it's worked very well for them, and that's great. But you're gonna have other people that are gonna step in. That's how these things work, right? And they're gonna say like, look, I don't have $200 million to make a superhero movie, but I can get you 10, and we can make a nice drama, or we can make a fun comedy, right? We can make, and then even when you're talking about the returns, right? So yeah, a Dune level, Marvel production, 200 to 250 million plus at least another 100, but almost twice that sometimes, in marketing, right? There's the subscription model does not allow for returns on that. And then you also get into very messy situations where you're dealing with the type of actors that have huge back end points and investments and everything that goes along with that, right? To date, I don't have the exact numbers. HBO Max's, I said this at the top of the feature, HBO Max's most successful movie in terms of streaming and numbers was Mortal Kombat. And that's absolutely the type of movie that is perfect for HBO Max. So it's actually kind of cool that movie did so well, because that's that, $40-50 million film that, yeah, we can do that. Like, streaming can support a $20 to $50 million production. I would argue that up to $50 million, streaming can support that production. So if we get more of those types of films, it would be amazing to get, see a sort of renaissance of like auteurs, I mean, you and I obviously on this show speak very fondly of the whole auteur movement from the 70s and, the 90s where we grew up on. And it would be so amazing to go back to a time like that. And maybe this allows for that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would even take it one step further, talking about following the money and profits and so forth. WandaVision for Disney Plus and Marvel had an estimated budget of around $25 million per episode. So, you look at that model of 20 to 30 million an episode with all the visual effects design for shows like Mandalorian or Loki. They typically have one of these shows kind of leading into the next, right? So that you always are getting your fix. So weekly, meaning. So if you could make a show last 8 to 10 episodes, which is what these series are typically lasting, then you're keeping your 210 million worldwide viewers around for 2 months off of a reported $100 million or $200 million budget. So, but then you times that by, $10-20 a month, and then your stock shares and all of that. So, it just kind of comes out into the wash. But so I think that maybe they're just trying to maybe reappropriate the same 200 million that they could put into a Black Panther, a Captain Marvel, a Shang-Chi. They could put into a Loki or a WandaVision and get 2 months use out of it with passive income and slingshot right to the next show, to the next show, to the next show. And compensate that with a lot of shows that don't cost that much money, not even close. And so the whole model of, the indie films, smaller films, mid-level films, and blockbuster films are now kind of shifting to blockbuster series, smaller series, indie series, and so forth for these streaming services. And we're just changing how we're getting our entertainment. Now, do I think that theaters will go away entirely? I don't think so. Not anytime soon. I think we all enjoy that. But I do think that a lot of them will close. I think that we're going to see a kind of a title change a little bit in how this all gets presented here. And the next year will kind of govern how quickly that's going to go. I do think that we will see an uptick depending on how COVID goes, new variants. I mean, health is a big issue because so much of the box office is governed by global box office now, and other countries in many cases are struggling with this harder or dealing with it stricter. And in either side of that spectrum will impact box office. If it's stricter, then it's closed down. If it's, if they're dealing with it more harshly in the sense of, getting these waves thrown at them, like in countries like China or India, that's going to impact how many people can go to the theater. So,
sure.
I mean, even Taco Bell is currently testing a subscription service in Arizona for monthly, for, I think it's $10 a month and you get a taco a day. For the month. So we'll see how fast food subscription services come to our door soon. So
also, that's not how you consume Taco Bell. You don't get one taco every day.
That was
you
my
get 7 tacos once a day.
Right.
Or one day a week.
That's my point. Charge me more and let me be a glutton.
Give me a monthly taco allowance and just deduct it from each trip,
$30 a month, and I could have up to 4 double stacks or chicken sandwiches from Wendy's at a go. And, what are they, $1.50 a piece. Now I got to go back 4 times. And I'm going to order a fries and a drink every time I go, and those are extra. So, and then I'm probably going to bring a friend. And if I don't go 4 times in a month, then you got me on that one. I'm currently a member of Taking Things Back to Films, AMC A-List. And that's $20 a month, and you can go see as many movies however you want. IMAX, 3D, Dolby, digital, whatever you want. And, if you go see 2 movies a month, you get your money back. But if you don't go see any,
definitely.
But here's the grift is that if you cancel, you can't re-sign up for 6 months. So if you miss a month or what have you, so COVID, put a real kink in the system. So, you end up having people like I'm currently paying for it because I don't want to cancel it because I don't want to lose it for 6 months in case the cinemas come back and all that. I got vaccinated, did everything I was supposed to do. Movies are supposed to be back. And I've gone to see a couple safely, but currently they're getting me on that because I'm not going to see my 2 movies a month. It's really a shame. But yeah, man. Just kind of curious how this affects, smaller films versus big films, and if big films end up encroaching on the small films market, or how this all plays out.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. And, furthermore, we also want to see what the listeners have to say about this. So, listeners, we would love to hear your thoughts about what you think about the future of cinema and where that's headed. As always, you can hit us up, esotericacinema@gmail.com, or at the old Twitters or Instagram, Esoterica Cinema. So anyways, Ryan, I have a little bit of good news here for us. Listeners, as you know, we're always encouraging you guys to call in and, or to email us, whatever. Just reach out to us. We want to get to interface with you, get a little bit of feedback. We actually have, Ryan, on standby, our very first caller.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, finally, somebody called in and they're going to talk to us. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you handle this one, buddy. So here we go. Take it away.
All right. Well, okay. I have no idea who this is. Let's check in on, this is exciting, though. This is good stuff. Okay. We got our first caller. Okay. Let's check in. Okay. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Esoterica Cinema.
I'm sorry. Who is this?
This is Ryan Siebold from Esoterica Cinema. How are you doing today?
Listen, Ryan Siebold, I don't know what Esoterica Cinema is, but I'm trying to call the Key West Theater. Do I have the right number? Is this Key West? Can I speak to the manager?
I was once the mayor of Key West, but I'm currently hosting a podcast. I'm sorry, I can't really. What
Listen,
can I help you with?
I'm very sorry that you used to be a mayor and now you're just the manager of a little theater, but I got a bone to pick with you, okay? Because the other day I was there and I went to see the monster movie with the guy who turns into the ant. You remember that one?
Yeah, yes, I do. On matinee, yes.
Yeah, so on top of everything, first of all, it was a madhouse. It was ridiculous. It was the least behaved audience I've seen in any movie, okay? You got kids jumping up over the chairs and popcorn's flying everywhere. Then all of a sudden, some guy shows up in an ant costume. I don't know what I'm thinking. Either way, I need a refund, okay? I'm calling you because I want a refund because let me tell you something. I did not get to finish the movie. I sat there and the whole building fell apart and the whole bomb went off and the screen exploded and we all ran outside and so I want my $7 back.
As previously stated, ma'am, sir, them, I am a host of we're running a show here. I'm really sorry. You kind of caught me in the middle of Jason, this is not a caller. I don't know. Okay. I mean, in all fairness, I don't know. Go and listen to our episode a few back. You'll find out very quickly that I actually was impacted by that show too. I ended up.
Yes, I know. All of us in the audience were impacted, and we just ran outside, and then all of a sudden everyone just started going home, and I was like, "But the movie's not even finished. Where do we get to go back in and go finish the movie? I paid my $7 for the ticket, and I just want to see the whole movie."
$7. That's pretty cheap, actually.
I know. It was a good deal, but it's a matinee there, son. You get a deal when you go to the matinee.
I mean, hence the name of the film, I guess. Yeah, I best I could do for you. I have some contacts in Key West. I'll see if I can make a few phone calls, and
please do, okay? Because there's a movie coming out that me and my husband want to see, and I would really love it if you could get us free tickets. It's the one where the Ryan kid from the podcast show turns into a walrus.
Hey,
have you seen that one?
That's me. I'm Ryan from the podcast. Yeah.
I love Ryan. Isn't he great? Don't you love how great he is?
He's the best.
I know. I love him too. I loved when he turned into an ant, and I can't wait to see him turn into a walrus.
Yeah, you just don't know what I'll be next, huh? Yeah, we'll get you those refunds.
No, not you, Ryan. The kid from the podcast.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Ryan from the podcast. I'm Jenny from the block.
Okay,
with the good hair.
Sure, okay, and I'm Bridget Bardot. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Listen, what is today? Today is Wednesday. Listen,
today is my husband's birthday, actually.
Happy birthday. Oh, are you guys going to have a celebratory wet t-shirt contest as per Key West Customs?
No. Not for some years, young man. You wouldn't want to see that.
Oh, you can't celebrate a birthday without a customary wet t-shirt contest?
I'm not running for office, so you don't have to see it.
Well, I'm going to run from this sketch and toss over to... Listen, thank you for being our first caller, ? Who knows what this was.
Okay, so I'll call you later about the free tickets then, okay?
Yes. No, listen, I was once the mayor of Key West. I'm going to make a few phone calls to the matinee. We're going to get you refunded. I'm going to pull some strings. And, enjoy the birthday.
Okay, excellent. You can just contact me on my page. I'll call you right back. Goodbye, Sonny.
Thank you. Appreciate your phone call. And, here's to hoping we actually have a real caller next time. Thanks, Jason, for once again throwing me under the bus. But now we're going to cut over to Eric and Javon's Pros and Cons for another monthly segment. Take it away, Javon.
You've seen aliens attack the Capitol. You've seen aliens attack Will Smith at the Capitol. You've seen aliens attack Will Smith when he was with Tommy Lee Jones. Let's see what happens when they land in the wrong part of the world in the wrong part of town with the wrong guy from Shaun of the Dead. We'll take it to the South Side London projects where we join Moses, who most people know as Finn, as we get all tooled up, blood, to go fight some aliens. These aliens are blacker than the Ace of Spades and more militant than most crews. Let's find out what happens when they come across the Southside London street kids with very little to no adult supervision. I mean, really, where are these kids' parents? I don't think there's a social services in London. Welcome to Eric and Javon's Pros and Cons. I'm Javon with my co-host.
I'm Eric.
And we're breaking down movies in the Esoterica movie cineverse so you don't have to.
We're here to save you some time, ladies and gentlemen.
Today we're starting with Attack of the Block, with my man John Boyega, better known as Finn.
Yeah, I don't know him as John Boyega. He is Finn to me. I apologize. I must have seen that movie first, and it's been ruined for me, so he will always be Finn.
Well, ever since you called Tom Hanks Forrest at that one restaurant, I would have thought that you had learned from your mistake.
Never again.
So we're going to give our best pros and cons to a 2011 movie called Attack the Block with John Boyega and Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, not really sure how this movie got by me other than maybe I just don't pay attention to horrible British comedies. But it ended up being rather surprising. I was a little shocked at the plot line, to be perfectly honest. But it kind of worked for me. So I would say pro, the city, that they kind of the background that they shot it in, it definitely made me feel like they were the inventors of white trash or the ghettos. So I felt a little bit better. Maybe they didn't just bring pilgrims, but they also brought, ghetto practices.
Pro, British people are just a little bit cooler with their hood. Their slang is just a little bit better than ours. Their accents, their drifting, their muggers, It
all seems a little classier when you do it with a British accent.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Con, every time my co-host hears British accents, he feels impeded to mimic them, and it never works for me.
If we're drinking with a British person, 30 minutes in, I'm going to mix in a Cheerio. It's really not my fault. Midway through this movie, I was talking with a Cockney hood accent, and I loved it. Pro for me is their soundtrack. They have KRS-One. Anytime you can throw the sound of the police into a movie, I'm down with it.
Okay, the soundtrack, I hadn't even really thought about that. Con, the kids seem to be a little bit young to be getting involved in what they were getting involved in. I'm not sure that at that age I would have been reacting the same way. Thoughts?
I would say that when you come up in that part of south side of England, I think being black in England kind of prepares you to not think twice when aliens start falling from the sky and attack you. In fact, pro for me was how rowdy these kids were. As soon as the aliens dropped down, John Boyega, Moses in the movie, Moses quickly kills one of the aliens, which starts off this whole thing. And then, as soon as the alien invasion starts, they all have a great montage of them going home and grabbing their weapons, katanas off the wall.
Oh yeah, they seem ballsy as hell. These kids got real brave real quick, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're out to battle interstellar aliens. Somebody's gonna get hurt. This movie's gonna take a wicked turn. But I also felt that the main characters wouldn't get off. Boy, was I surprised.
Boy, were we surprised. And I gotta tell you, for me, Khan was one of the nemesis, was a guy named Hi-Hats, which was a drug dealer that wanted Moses to sell cocaine for him.
I think we're jumping to conclusions. I don't know if it was cocaine or not.
It was. I read the synopsis. It was definitely cocaine.
Okay.
I smelled it. Anyway, so Hi-Hats said, sure, you can store this alien here, but I'm going to need you to move some of this white for me. Oh, it happened again.
So, Khan, everybody seems very cavalier about there being an alien just hanging around. They're carrying this dead body throughout the town, and it's not as shocking as you would think it would be to most people.
Again, being poor in England, you probably see a whole lot of stuff. They didn't seem to be... That was my thing with Hi-Hats. He still maintained his beef with these other characters in the middle of an alien invasion. People are covered in blood. We're seeing these darkness monsters with tooth whitening strips for faces, and they're devouring people. And he's like, I still got to go get Moses. And it's like everybody in his...
You see what I mean, ladies and
That's
gentlemen?
That's how he sounded. Anyway, he still stayed on path. So I didn't like the fact that he didn't seem to know what he was doing. He lost half of his crew, and he was still trying to go eat Moses.
Gotcha. Yeah, you know what? The second that the aliens land, I squash all beef with humans, and we unite on a front and kill said alien.
As written in the Geneva Convention, of course.
Right, yeah. That's
you stop all
14.
beefs, and then you get back to it after you beat the darkness monsters.
Right. After we beat the darkness monsters, then I get back to beating yo ass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Agreed.
United front. Yeah, I got it.
Con for me was the advertising for this movie. I feel like if more people would have saw this movie, they would have liked it a lot better. For me, also, I just feel like it should have had more from Nick Frost as well. We got no character from him.
Yeah, he played a pretty minimal role. What I will say, the movie was right on time as far as being just long enough, not too long to where I really lost interest. I thought the movie was actually pretty good. If you have an hour and a half to absolutely murder, this is probably not a bad way to do it. You could, although I will say, use the subtitles, because honestly, I missed 3/4 of the dialogue of this movie. No shit.
Pro for me, Hulu subtitles. You will not know what is going on unless you grew up with Jamaican Nanny or something like that, because half of it is Jamaican, pikey, English, and...
It's like Cockney Black Dynamite. It's what the character Moses ends up playing, but you don't understand a goddamn thing that's going on the entire time. I mean, if I didn't know how to read body language and kind of put shit together, I had to really pay attention, though.
I got to tell you, they were out of credits for their prepaid cellulose, and I didn't realize what the problem was till halfway in the movie, that they didn't have enough credits. He's like, you're the only one with any credits, and I was like, what is going on? So yeah, T-Mobile, Boost, reach out to those guys out in England, because apparently.
Throwback to 2011. Yeah, that should
a lot of prepaid. Yeah, that's true.
That's different. That's when they had pagers and stuff.
I will say, though, wrapping up, that if you do like a movie that's slightly better than USA Up All Night and a little bit under HBO Now, I think you'll enjoy seeing John Boyega in a movie that they didn't ruin by him. Finn.
This is like his pre-training for Star Wars. I feel like his experience with the aliens here led him to get a bigger role at a later time.
Well, he did use the katana blade in that, which is always nice, and that got him ready
throwback. Yeah, there was the Easter egg.
That got him ready to fight.
Gotcha. Melee weapons and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm with it.
I will say that I recommend Attack the Block if you're looking for something to do with your afternoon. It's super fun. But wrapping up here, this is Eric and Javon's pros and cons. I think we're both kind of endorsing Attack the Block. What do you think, Eric?
I give it 2 thumbs up, buddy.
2 thumbs up from me as well. I wish that it would have made money worldwide, but there's still time if you guys go watch it. So support it. It's streaming on Hulu right now. You can see one movie that they didn't mess up John Boyega's character forever.
Finn.
John Boyega.
We'll get to this later.
John, Boyega.
I don't like that at all.
I'm workshopping it.
Okay, we'll get back to it.
All right.
Round table.
All right, Javon, Eric, thanks so much. Really appreciate that breakdown of Attack the Block. Yeah, I've caught that one as well, and it's a good one. I have it on Blu-ray. It's one of those ones that you can find for like $5 or $6 if it ever goes off the Hulu there. So, yeah, definitely check it out. Get John Boyega's original English accent there. It's a lot of fun. All right, the time has come to go ahead and announce the winner of our big raffle. That's right. If you recall, we were having a 1-month promotion where if you sent in a copy of the review that you left us on Apple, Podchaser, or wherever you left reviews, you would go into a drawing for $50 cash. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and select from our big pool of applicants here. And drum roll, please. Oh, look, no one. Nobody won because nobody left a review. Not only did you not leave a review, but you certainly didn't send it to us, but we know that we did not get any reviews in the last month anyway. So the big winner is nobody. Now, guys, I do have to say, I feel like you missed a huge opportunity here, okay? Because you literally could have left something that said, show good, 5 stars, and you'd have $50 cash right now. On the other side, you could also say, show shit, 1 star. That would have also been worth $50 to you. But no, that was apparently asking too much, and so as such, nobody gets any money. By the way, for anybody listening, I have a good friend Ashton who does the Cryptids Decrypted podcast, and his all-time favorite review is a 1-star review. I rather eat poop. 1 star. And the guy, it's a great show. It's got 20, 30 something 5-star reviews and shit. It's just like, that's like the 1-star review. Not even I'd rather eat poop. I rather eat poop. 1 star. Funny thing, that guy could have left the same review for Esoterica Cinema in the last month. Would have been worth $50, but he didn't. Neither did you. So we'll go ahead and spend that money on strippers and blow like we do. Thank you very much, guys. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll try to find a different something for you guys to do that's a little more up your alley. If you have something in mind that you'd like to see us do, go ahead and hit us up. So just to remind you, we are available on the old Twitter and Instagram at Esoterica Cinema. We are also on email, esotericacinema@gmail.com. You can hit up myself, Jason Aberrant, ABERRANT on the Twitter or Instagram. You can also hit up at the Ryan Seabold or Ryan_Seabold for Twitter and Instagram for Ryan. So yeah, and then also don't forget esotericacinema.com. A lot of fun stuff on there, a lot of content. You can listen to the episodes right there on the webpage. You can download our master list that we choose each of the films from. That's a lot of fun to follow along with. And you can also drop us a message there. So with all of that said, we do hope that you enjoyed us on this bonus episode, and we will see you next week on Esoterica Cinema.